In 2006, Tim Donnelly was a California Minuteman, and he and some of his friends went to the California-Mexico border and tried to build their own fence. Well, Stephen Colbert and Comedy Central found out about this, and they did an entire segment all about Tim Donnelly. Flash forward to today, and Tim is now a California Assemblyman for the 59th District. And recently, The Daily Show showed up at his office. I'm going to talk to Tim Donnelly about all of this today, right here on Patriot Updates. So this is Tim Donnelly. So good to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, I want to start talking about the Stephen Colbert thing, because once I saw that, I understood why The Daily Show went to your office. Because why would they go after just a random assemblyman out of nowhere? It's because you're doing something they're threatened by, and they know that you're somebody to watch, don't you think?
Well, back then I didn't think anything of it. As a matter of fact, I didn't want to do the Colbert Report because I just,
you knew who they were.
Well, yeah, and I thought, okay, what good is this going to do? I always analyze things and think, what good is it going to do? But, and back then it was very risky, because even talking about illegal immigration was a politically very dangerous thing to do, and yet somebody needed to do it.
Yeah.
And so, since I had formed the largest Minuteman group in California, and we were doing something, we built a fence, and we did it with citizens, and we did it in the middle of the debate, and we timed it that way. We actually picked April 28th for them to film it, and they put it on air on May 1st. And
what exactly were you trying to accomplish? Were you trying to make a fence that was impenetrable, or because that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
It was a statement.
Everything that we did was designed to leverage the media.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time we were helping to secure the border, and we were also helping to educate hundreds, thousands, and maybe at some point even millions of people about the fact the border was wide open. So we found a spot where you have a meadow where taxi cabs pull up and they unload people.
Wow.
And and that's during the day. And those are people who are just coming for a better life, and they'll come in groups of 10, 15, 20, and they go through these rocks, these areas, and where one Border Patrol agent cannot control that area. At night, it's a whole different matter. At night, women out there are routinely raped. The drug cartels are bringing through tons and tons of drugs. That's where they send their mules through. They had a place up in the rocks we called the High Point Hilton, where you found evidence of thousands of crossings, and we found a lot of the Arabic prayer cloths and some of their books. And we heard one night men speaking in Arabic, and when you're Arabic, it costs $50,000 to get through. Whereas if you're just an ordinary, person looking for a better life, it might be $1,500 or $2,000.
Now, ironically, Stephen Colbert didn't talk about any of that on that segment of
no,
his show.
he was trying to make fun of us,
yeah.
and we made fun of ourselves a little bit.
Yeah.
And yet he tried to make us look like we were all crazy. But I think it really backfired on him. Because
absolutely.
Across this country, people now recognize, back then there were 2,000 people who had been killed in the drug war. The media, the mainstream media, has finally caught up with the story, and in the last 4 years it's 40,000 dead. So, when they want to make fun of us and act like we're just people who are standing against the poor person coming for a better life, we never stood against them. As a matter of fact, we helped save their lives in many cases. We operated as a border search and rescue. And the Colbert Report, I don't know how many viewers they have, but I understand that the Daily Show has 14 million viewers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
And the game has changed. In 2006, people were asleep. In 2011, we have an activated, awake citizenry. We have awakened the sleeping giant. We were part of that awakening back then. And so when they came to my office this time, I was ready for them.
Well, so let's flash forward. What happened, and why Comedy Central has zeroed in on you? I mean, why?
I think that there's just something about a person who stands up and speaks out and speaks the truth, and they talk in normal language that everybody understands.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's who the liberals are the most afraid of. People that can get through to people, to the regular people.
Yeah, and you know what the wonderful thing is? I've gone up to Sacramento thinking I might be the only one there because I didn't trust anybody. I didn't know about this political system. I mean, I ran for office.
Not trusting Sacramento, California. That's just, I don't know why.
I ran for office I started in February for a June primary. Didn't know anybody in politics, and we only raised $15,000, and we beat the establishment, which had raised between three candidates $400,000. So we knew, and we ran completely on the issue of bringing the Arizona law to California, and half my district's in LA County. What that told me is something has radically changed, that this country looks at this issue differently. We had liberal Democrats putting yard signs in. We had legal Hispanics grabbing my yard sign, giving me a hug, and saying, "Thank you for treating me like an American. I'm sick of being lumped in with the illegals." John Oliver came with a crew, and a lot of the people in the Capitol actually knew who he was. I'd never seen him, so he seemed like a nice enough guy, very clever. He's fixated on a couple things. First of all, I think a big reason they targeted me is I'm a Tea Party guy. So I was a leader of the Minutemen here in California, and I'm a Tea Party guy who got elected with just the Tea Party. So that was newsworthy, I guess, in some sense. But they're very focused on the big corporations and how they're using direct democracy and the little people. And I guarantee you they're going to have a focus that's going to be like, oh, here's the Tea Party guy defending the big corporation. He's going to have a hard time making that case. They're going to have to chop up a lot of the footage. I'm sure they'll do that. But if it's funny, and they have 14 million viewers, and what I believe is that if you're sincere and you make sense, they really can't chop it up enough for people to not understand that, they want something that you're expressing, and they know there's something radically wrong. And when you're speaking the truth will get through the filters.
Right.
It just will, because
Well,
otherwise they won't have a show.
Like you're building a fence, trying to keep.
Well,
that was what's wrong with that. I was watching that. I'm like, what's their point?
We did a 9-minute segment with Anderson Cooper, because we had Anderson Cooper with us. We actually dared the federal government to stop us from building that fence, because we said we're going to go and amend your primary border fence. And Anderson Cooper, at the end of the day, said, "What happened here today?" Well, we had 200 citizens show up from one radio interview. 200 citizens showed up, 144 vehicles. They brought welding equipment, they brought hammers, gloves, and I looked down the line. I said, the people are done talking. They're speaking with post hole diggers, they're stringing barbed wire, and they're telling the Senate, we want a fence, and we don't want amnesty. It isn't complicated.
Yeah.
There's a tremendous amount of power that you have. You make decisions that affect millions of people. And so people are constantly knocking at your door and trying to persuade you and make you feel like you're a genius. I mean, I've never felt sexier in my life. And you know what, I look in the mirror every day, just, because I know that the bottom line is that I made a promise to the people. I stood on people's porches and I looked into their eyes and I saw that desperation. And right now, because of what the politicians have done and the direction they're taking our country, which is continually overriding the will of the people,
yeah. Not just in California, it's everywhere.
It is across this country,
yeah.
And it has destroyed the people's faith in this form of government.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
we are literally looking at the extinction of this great experiment that the founders risked everything for. Remember, they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. And here's what it's going to take. It isn't going to take a tremendous amount, but it's going to take people paying attention. And we're going to be giving the information out on Facebook. We're going to be giving it out on programs like yourself, which is broadcast on the internet, which is the future. And then you have to convert 10 of your friends. And not only that, but you have to go to your civic groups and you have to explain to them why they need to care about these issues now. Because if they say they're only interested in economic issues, well, every issue now ties into economics.
Do they need to start close to the election?
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
We need volunteers to be registering voters because some of these districts are close. A district that is 10% upside down, where the registration for Democrats is higher, by 10%. Those are winnable. Some of them are at 12% right now. We need to go out and get more people. There are people right now who are angry. They've been on the radio, mainly over the DREAM Act and a couple of other issues that just burn them up, and they're saying, I'm leaving the Democrat Party. We need to take them up on their offer and make it possible and make it easy for them to show up at their doorstep, and you know what? That work needs to be done now. And then they need to join their local Tea Party, their local Republican group, or form their own group. You know, you don't have to be a Republican. This is a Californian issue. This is an American issue. And you know what? There's tremendous power as these groups are forming. The politicians are scared to death.
Oh, that's why they're making fun and just trying to kill the Tea Party now. That's why they want people to not take us seriously.
Sure, that's why they're trying. That's why they're putting me on the Daily Show in front of 14 million people, because they think that will extinguish it. They don't realize is this teapot is boiling over, and it needs a vent. And that vent, and what I'm doing when I go around the state, is I'm saying here is exactly what you can do. Right now, you need to have signed and gotten 10 signatures on every referendum. Whether it's for the fire tax, whether it's for SB 48, the homosexual indoctrination, or whether it's for the Amazon tax. Even though they killed that with this new bill, I think they should still continue that referendum and get all the signatures. Because you know what it does? It sends a signal, and it sends a chill down their spines. When the government begins to fear the people, we will have liberty again.
Absolutely.
Well, you can go to my Assembly website, or my campaign website, I'm sorry, which is, Donnelly for Assembly. It's Donnelly with 2 N's and 2 L's for Assembly, or you can just Google my name, Tim Donnelly.
I'll have all the information.
Yeah, we'll hook you up with that, and we're even going to put up a new one, because we figure if there's 14 million people watching, they might want to know something, and they might want to become part of this revolution, and we want to hear from them.
And watch for Tim Donnelly on Comedy Central, because they love him, which we all know is a really good sign that he is doing something really right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Tim.
you, Anne-Marie.